Hello, ladies and gentlemen, citizens of the verse, and welcome back to Star Citizen, specifically Arena Commander. I'm your host, as always, Citra, also known in Star Citizen as Aaron Vixen Valeris. So today we are going to be checking out Arena Commander, specifically kind of like a brief overview, and I'll do some dogfighting, show you the modes, and how to get started. So if you haven't read the manual, it's a really good idea to do that, but all you need to do to get started playing is walk over here, and you should usually see a helmet there. I actually have the helmet on right now, even though it's still there. I guess that's like a little glitch. Oh wait, here we go. All right, we're good. We're good. I actually have it on now. And next thing you do is want to come to one of these three ships. We've got the Aurora, the Hornet, and my personal favorite, the Origin 300 series. For this demonstration, we're going to start with the Hornet, and we'll just do some brief flight overview and take a look at the controls. Now, I do want to let you guys know that I am running these on low settings, mostly because I'm running on an NVIDIA 470 GTX. So it is possible to play this game on a lower spec system. I do have a pretty beefy processor and plenty of RAM. Unfortunately, I don't have enough money to upgrade the video card just yet. Hopefully soon, though. And it actually is quite playable. I'm on 720. Alrighty, here we go. So here's the Arena Commander main menu. Now, when they put in multiplayer or release it to more people, you'll be able to do a Spectrum match against other players, but for right now, we just have Drone Sim available. And there's currently two modes in Drone Sim. You have Free Flight, where you can pretty much just fly around, check out your ship, and Vandal Swarm, which you fight ever-increasing waves of enemy Vandals. And for both of these, there are two maps. There's Broken Moon as well as Dying Star. Dying Star is really cool because there's a lot of asteroids that you can fly around, but it's pretty dark. So we're just going to do Broken Moon for now and go to Free Flight and launch the mission. So I've actually spent a lot of time with this. I did about a 3-hour stream last night when it first came out and had a lot of fun with it. And I'm going to do another stream today, although depending on when this video comes up, it may or may not be over. So if you haven't already, make sure you go to twitch.tv/Citra and follow that channel. I'm also playing a lot of WildStar. We're going to have a giveaway on Friday, so if you're interested in that game as well, you may want to stop by. I'm also playing with a 360 pad. I don't have a joystick and throttle just yet. I did try mouse and keyboard, and it just wasn't playable for me. Alright, so here we are in our cockpit. Now, first things first, we do have a heads-up display on our helmet. On the upper right, you can actually see target information. On the upper left, you can see ship information. And we can use the F1 through 2 keys to cycle through our ship information. It defaults to weapons. So you can see we have the Mantis on each wing, that's the Gatling, and we have 1,500 rounds each. On the center turret, we have the Bulldog Repeater, which is an energy weapon. And we have 2 quad missile launchers as well. We can actually see individual weapon loadouts here, as well as our power settings and our shields, our shield status. Shield status is pretty useful to have up. Alrighty, now in the center HUD, we have a couple of things. Over here, we have our speed. Let me just throttle up a little bit so you can see that. I'm gonna take us away from this thing, that's kind of loud. And you can see when we're afterburning, how much faster it goes. And over here on this side, we have our safeties. So right now we're flying in coupled mode, G safety is on, and comm stability is on. Or I'm sorry, combat stability is on. So basically what those do, in coupled mode, the ship flies a little more like an airplane. You'll see as I move around how it flies. And we're going to go ahead and uncouple. So now that's off, and you can see that we're actually drifting. And we can also use our strafe thrusters. Now, you can't currently bind things, so something that I'm really hoping for is the ability to strafe without being unlinked. That's a pretty important thing to have, in my opinion. If you played something like Diaspora, you know what I'm talking about, because you are pretty much able to strafe even in like the quote-unquote airplane mode. Alrighty, so let's go into the other modes real quick and how to turn those off. And before we do that, we are going to go ahead and stop here and take a look at our controls. Okay, so I'm actually not sure about joystick controls. I suppose I could... Okay, well, here's our joystick controls. It will probably change. That's pretty impressive, though. Oh, wow, they actually have actual... Look at that. X55 Rhino. That's the one I really want, but it's pretty expensive. I can't afford it just yet. Alrighty, so basically, this is your modifier, and you can use that along with caps to cycle through the safeties. I usually use the controller for that. Space brake here. These are your strafe up and strafe down. You can't actually use these when flying. I'm not too sure on the controller how to do that. I think I can use a modifier. It's kind of a pain in the butt on the gamepad. Honestly, if you're playing this game, you're really probably going to want a joystick, to be straight up honest. And that's just really... It's really something you can't do without. You can also eject, toggle your lights on and off. You can eject, and there's quite a few options actually. You can navigate your HUD here, which is pretty nice. And here's our countermeasures. Those are also pretty important. And I'm actually curious on our controller where countermeasures are, because I've actually not had to use those too much, because I can pretty much dodge the missiles that I've had on me. So it looks like modifier on this will launch my countermeasures. Okay, that makes sense. Right. Okay, well, let's go ahead and resume. And okay, so we're going to turn off G safety, and I still have my comm stability on, but what that means is we can actually pull enough G's that we can black out. Although I've not been able to black out in the Hornet. I think it's a little slower turner, but in the 300, which we will fly a little bit later, you will definitely see that come into play. Now, I usually like to fly with both G safety and combat stability off. I usually bounce between coupled and uncoupled mode. Oh, they didn't show the boundaries. Arrgh, I apologize. In the actual Vanduul Swarm, you can see the boundaries of the map.
Stand by for
and this one, I guess you can't.
Anvil Aerospace.
You see the awesome startup for the HUD. I love it. Each ship has a different startup. All right, let's go here. All right, so basically with comm stability off, we're going to drift more, which I really like. The ships have a really nice flight dynamics to them. Each ship feels very different. And you can see we're actually drifting now. Kind of have a lot more drift, even in airplane. Well, I call it airplane mode, but I should say coupled mode. I've got a lot more drift. And that actually, you really get a lot more turning with G-force off and comm stability off as well. It can be tricky to control sometimes. Sometimes your ships will shudder around and you may have a hard time aiming onto things under heavy turning. So there's a lot of variables to consider, and obviously when you have damage, that's going to come into play as well. Do a quick unlink here, fire, our afterburners.
Collision.
You don't really want to fly into that big laser beam. It can do a lot of damage. Alright, so that's pretty much the basics on flying. Let's go back into, let's talk about weapons. Alright, so basically this ship has about, it's got basically 2 weapons groups. You've got your, this is the top turret, which is kind of pew-pew lasers, and you can actually see they will actually track your looking. So if you got something like Track IR or Oculus Rift, you may actually have an advantage at this game over other people. Unless they're using, like right now I'm using an analog stick, and I'm sure you probably could use that. I've not had to though. And okay, so our second weapon group are the Gatlings, and these are my personal favorite.
Warning. You are approaching simulation.
Now, for this particular ship, the Gatlings seem to work best around 500 meters and lower. And the other weapon group are the missiles, and those require lock-on to fire. So I can't really fire those off just yet, but we will soon. All right.
Warning. You are approaching.
So a couple more things about the HUD. We have, well, actually not really the HUD, but the actual ship itself. We have missile inbound warnings, collision warnings, hull breach warnings, and G-force alerts. Down here we have our boost and our throttle gauge. Boost covers afterburn. You can see when I afterburn, we actually deplete that quite quickly, and I've actually clipped something. Yeah, I've actually taken off a wing with that. So that was fun. Let's go ahead and maybe we can land or something. Can't actually get out of your ship just yet, so there's no EVA.
Collision.
The damage model on all of these ships are really, really cool. Alright, and down here we have our
Collision.
thrust output. I'm not sure if these actually do anything just yet. I guess they do. So each thruster, that's the output for each thruster on the ship. And that's pretty much everything in the Hornet's cockpit. The Hornet cockpit looking a lot like the Wing Commander, first ship I think you had in that game. And oh, and also this right here, this is the radar right here. And right now it's showing my ship in the center, and there is some damage on it, and you can see it's a 3D spherical radar, which actually is a really good idea because we are in space. Alright, so I think it's time for some combat. We've had a nice overview of this particular ship, and let's get right into it. Alright, we are back and actually in the combat mode now. I am on the other map that we haven't seen yet. Gonna go ahead and turn off my safeties.
Bogey.
And we have our bogeys, so gonna go ahead and target one of those. You can actually see the targeting scanner come into play, and let's go ahead and show you a missile. Hold down this to get a lock. And if we hold down the missile, we actually get a missile camera, which is really cool. Let's see if that missile can hit its target. And it connected.
Target destroyed.
Target killed.
Scanning.
So here we go, let's light this guy up.
Scanning.
Now I'm actually flying at a disadvantage with this controller over a joystick. Doing some damage there. Now the Gatlings do have some spin-up time. Oh shit. Oh, I didn't know I was that close. I actually just blew off one of my Gatlings. That's gonna come into play later. Wow. So yeah, collisions are pretty deadly. And one thing about this map, it's very, very dark. I think on the higher difficulty level, or higher, sorry, the higher graphical levels, you can turn on lights, so those asteroids would be a lot easier to see. Now, something you probably want to do when you're dogfighting on Vandal Swarm is save your missiles for the later waves. Go ahead and hit my afterburner here, thrust up. So this is quite a dangerous map with those asteroids. Getting some hits on the shields. Once the shields are down, I'm going to open up the kinetics. Come on. He's doing a lot of dodging. These are very, very versatile ships, and you'll find that the combat AI is quite good, especially when you get to the higher levels. And he is dead. They're his lifeless husk of a ship floating off into the void.
Warning, there are multiple hostiles inbound. Bogey.
Alright, so you saw some fade out right there. That was from G-forces. So actually almost kind of lost some blood to my head there. I usually like to laser their shields down and then open up with the Gatlings, because you do have to worry about ammunition on the Gatlings. Oh, and I keep getting this message every now and then. It doesn't really matter because I'm not online. So, alright, let's get in here.
Collision.
Oh, thank you. That was a friendly that just crashed into me. Some good hits there. Didn't do a lot of damage because these shields are still up.
Collision.
Shields are down though, and rammed him. I wasn't expecting him to stop just like that.
Stand by for reintegration.
Let's go ahead and respawn real quick.
Anvil Aerospace. All systems online. Bogey.
I really like
Scanning.
the computer voice. Each ship has its own computer voice. And of course, my favorite ship, the Origin 300, has the best one. She has probably a sexier voice than I am told that I do. Some hull hits now. Open up. And he is toast. I'm gonna go ahead and turn my safeties off like I forgot to do. Hit those afterburners.
Collision.
And, you know, if dogfighting module, I'm sorry, if the actual multiplayer has a challenge, feel free to add me. My actual call sign is Vixen. That's my community moniker is Aaron Valeris. And I will be more than happy. So you see there I just shot the Vulcans and it did nothing because it was hitting the shield. So instead of wasting ammo, it's always a good idea to use your energy weapons to take the shields down. Unless there's like a special type of weapon that's like designed to take down the shields, and that'd be a good thing to fire. So getting hits now, open up, and he is toast.
Collision.
It's actually kind of funny. One of your wingmen, there's two wingmen, friendly wingmen, NPCs. There's Warlord and Vixen. So I'm sure that Cloud Imperium didn't intend on that. Oh, so we actually have an elite now.
Scanning.
Cycle through my targets. It's Little King, and I'm gonna try to dogfight him one-on-one with just my guns. We'll see. Here he is. at each other there. Lead him a little bit. We're starting to get some damage on him. Right up with the kinetic. And he is toast. Nice.
Collision.
But as I was saying, yeah, there's an NPC with my call sign. And I actually have that reserved. That's one of the ones that nobody else can take. But I don't think they intended on doing that. I wasn't paying attention. That's the thing about commentary and gaming. I don't think they intended on doing that, but it's always a kind of a fun thing. So when you're playing the dogfighting module, you can actually fly with me, I guess, kind of. Alright, so let's go ahead and do some of the other ships. I'm actually not doing so well at dogfighting tonight, but it's mostly because I'm trying to talk about the game, and that's one thing that you'll understand if you make videos yourself. Sometimes you're not really operating at your best efficiency because your focus is pulled off in many directions. When I was streaming this last night, it was pretty much game face, and I feel bad because I'm really a very interactive streamer, and I was totally ignoring my chat when I was flying and dogfighting.
Anvil Aerospace.
I was like glancing over now and then to like try to say a few snippets here and there. Alright, let's go ahead and exit sim. Now I do have a curious bug where my pilot textures after I get back to the hangar module don't load. I think this is actually a CryEngine problem because I have this problem sometimes in ArcAge, which also runs on CryEngine 3. But you know, this is pre-alpha, and I have to say for a pre-alpha, it's been pretty stable. So I'm pretty happy that they waited, what, the extra 5 days and released it pretty much when it's ready. So we're going to fly the Aurora now. This is the ship that I think you can still pledge for $35, although if you want to fly in this alpha, like if you don't have the game already, you will have to pay $10 to get access to this alpha. Because the alpha was kind of a bonus reward for early backers. The Aurora, as I like to call the flying coffin, also comes in a few variants, and when variants come into play, I think this ship will be a lot better than it currently is. We'll talk about that a little bit more in the ship comparison video that I will be doing. For now, let's, I just want to hop into free flight for this ship because I'll actually be talking about the ship's combat capabilities in the next video. But the Aurora seems to be, I mean, it's kind of a starter ship for one. And it's kind of a jack-of-all-trades ship. There is a cargo variant, there's an explorer variant, and there's kind of a dogfighting variant that you can pick up. And the base model, which this one is, doesn't have a lot of features. So think of it like that budget car that's like $10,000 or $12,000 and doesn't have any features. Like it still has roll down windows and it just has like an AM/FM radio, doesn't even have a CD player.
To Roberts Space Industries. Enjoy the ride.
You can
System
see the
check.
RSI startup there, and I will say though, I actually do enjoy the cockpit. It definitely feels, I don't know, sturdy. Feels sturdy, and of course the Aurora is kind of the sister ship, well, not really sister ship, it's like the baby sister to the Constellation, which I actually own, and I'm looking forward to multi-person ships. Now, this particular ship is pretty agile. It's got, I mean, it's not particularly fast, but it's really small, and it can turn really quick. Like, look at that. So you can kind of change direction well with it. It's pretty hard to fly in third person, not gonna lie. Well, it's not hard to fly. It's hard to judge distance, I should say. Like for example, that.
System damaged.
And we can see some of the damage
Alert.
model,
Systems overheating.
which is pretty cool actually. Now I'm not actually sure how to change rotate the camera. I'm not sure if you can do that right now.
Alert.
Oh wait,
Systems
was that?
overheating.
No, it wasn't. Hopefully they'll add cameras
Alert.
for third person that you can
Systems
move around.
overheating.
So took a lot of damage on the top there. Pretty cool looking. And I don't think, no, all the, oh crap, you know what? I think I have thrusters or something offline. I'm doing a lot of drifting. Hang on a second. This is not normal. This is not good at all. I'm coupled, but I'm flying off the map. Yeah, okay, so I think what happened was, my system that couples, the safety system.
Systems overheating.
I think it's actually broken because I'm technically in coupled mode right now, but it's flying like it's in full Newtonian physics mode. And we are pretty much, yeah, not going to be able to slow down, I don't think, unless I do some really tricksy flying. So let's do a lot of thrust this way and slow down and kind of do a little thrust this way. Yeah, so I think that's what happened. I'm technically in coupled mode, but it's flying like it's in decoupled mode. So I think that system is actually busted.
Systems overheating.
I really wish there was spacewalking in. It's
overheating.
coming. It's definitely coming, but it's going to be a little while for it to get added, I'm sure.
Impact.
I think right now they're probably working on multiplayer. So yeah, impacts are pretty
Systems overheating.
pretty damaging. You don't really want to do that. So that was the Aurora. You can see it's floating off into space. The Hulk of our poor little Aurora. And let's go ahead and check out the 300. So yeah, let me know what you guys think. Make sure you follow these videos. Follow me on Twitch, subscribe here, and I will be doing a ton more Star Citizen content. And I will be doing a lot of streaming of dogfighting in multiplayer, even if I'm at a disadvantage with the controller instead of having a nice joystick. I'm having some coffee. If you're hearing background noise, I do apologize for that. This is kind of a chill morning video, I guess. And as I was saying before, when multiplayer comes along, feel free to challenge me.
Welcome to Roberts Space Industries.
I would love to interact
Enjoy
with you
the
guys.
ride. System check.
And yeah, dogfight you or fly with you. You know, if there's for the team modes, I'll be happy to fly on your team sometimes. There is some clipping right here. The camera. I don't like this ship. I'm not a fan of the Aurora. Thankfully, they have a new way for people to upgrade their Auroras to other airframes, and you get to keep your LTI and everything. Currently, you can upgrade the Aurora to a 300 or a Hornet, and you can also upgrade a 300 to a Hornet as well. That's not to say the Hornet is the best ship, though. It all goes in how you like to fly. And once again, that's something I will get into on the actual ship comparison video, which I will be recording right after this one. And here is the Origin 300i. So I think for this one, we're going to play on the other map because I would actually like to see what's going on. I like both maps. I really like the asteroids and Dying Star, but Broken Moon, you can just kind of see stuff better. So basically right now what's going on is they're working on getting multiplayer rolled out to everyone. And I think the next step after that are ship variants. So hopefully I'll be able to fly my 325A soon. And there's all kinds of really cool stuff coming to Arena Commander, including an actual capture the Idris mode, which I think sounds amazingly fun. So that won't be until they have the FPS shooting gameplay. But I don't think that's going to be too hard since they are running on CryEngine 3.
At your service. Core system operational.
See, isn't she awesome? I love my ship. I need to name her. So there I am. Now, there's my NPC. No, it's definitely not named after me. I'm sure they just decided that would be the call sign.
Initiated.
So I'm going to turn off my safeties and go to town. Now, this particular ship comes outfitted with 2 different energy weapons, 2 Omnomsky, I call it Omnomnomsky laser cannons on the wings, and a Bulldog repeater on the center line. Now, for these ships, I like to open up with the laser cannons, and then at closer range, hit them with the Bulldog repeater. Now, this ship does turn tighter, so I'm actually blacking out right now. So I usually just fly with it. I usually just fly with it and manage it. Doing some uncoupling here to get behind him, to stay behind him. Fire my thrusters a little bit.
Hostile eliminated. Proximity alert.
I think I actually clipped him there, but we're fine. So this one has a lot of asteroids too, actually, so you can still get some asteroid fun in. And it also has a couple of weapon racks, I'm sorry, missile racks. They have 2 missiles each, and the Hornet has 2 quad racks. Now the 325A variant of this ship has 2 quad racks as well. So if you're looking to dogfight and you're wanting something more maneuverable than a Hornet, the 325A is a good decision. And once again, I'll get into that in my ship comparison video. These weapons do fire slower, but they do hit really hard. Gonna focus a little bit here so I can actually do some land damage. Open up my center line to... Oh, in the manual, the next ship to be added appears that it will be the Aurora. I'm not the Aurora, I'm sorry, the Avenger. And really looking forward to flying that one. Because I don't actually own one, and it's supposed to have... It's got a really big center cannon, kind of like the A-10 Avenger, or A-10 Thunderbolt in real life. Did a lot of damage to him. I'm not sure if he's gonna last much longer.
Alert. Systems overheating.
So with this ship, because I do fly it on the ragged edge, I do get a lot of heat warnings.
Systems overheating.
Now if I turn my safeties back on, I wouldn't have that problem.
Force shield at half strength. Proximity alert. Alert. Systems overheating. Alert. Systems overheating.
I think I need to be under 1K for this to actually hit right.
Hostile eliminated.
There we go.
Scan initiated. Hostile eliminated.
Alright. So here's a look from it from the outside. Let's hit that thruster. Now watch the engine actually work. Let me slow down. So you look at that, the thrust nozzle. Pretty cool actually. And of course the 350R has dual engines because that's like the racing variant. I love the look of this ship. I absolutely love it. Looks like I've got one on my 6 too. Three of them.
Stern shielding depleted. Alert. Systems
I'll lock on
overheating.
this guy real quick.
Scan initiated. Stern shielding depleted.
Missile inbound.
Alert.
Oh crap.
Systems overheating.
I was not ready for that. He was just showing off the prettiness of the ship. So I took a lot of damage on my left side there.
Proximity
Port side,
alert.
if you actually know
Scan
ship speak.
Initiated.
Can't afford to black out right now, but I have to pull these G's.
Alert. Systems overheating. Hostile eliminated.
I will defend myself.
Scan initiated.
The dynamic music in this game is really awesome. Kind of reminds me of the old, well, actually it does. It reminds me straight up of the old Origin music
Alert. Systems overheating.
in the original Wing Commander. All of them, really. They all had that, and they were so cool. This is one game that I may not fly with music on when I stream.
Alert.
I mean,
Systems
other than game music. This one's being evasive. Got a big hit on him, though. Hopefully I hit his engines.
Hostile
Decoupled,
eliminated.
and I was able to
Scan
spin and hit him.
initiated.
This game really makes you feel like
Alert.
you're right in the middle of like Star Wars or Battlestar Galactica. Probably Battlestar Galactica because the ships just fly a little more realistic than Star Wars. Obviously, still, it's more of the World War II dogfighters kind of combat. And I actually like that. I know some people are like, well, why isn't it completely realistic with like orbital mechanics and shit? And it's like, because it's not Kerbal Space Program. That's why. Go play Kerbal Space Program. Let's have our fun. It just simply wouldn't be a Wing Commander-like game if it had all that. It worked for Independence War, having fully Newtonian.
Alert. Systems
But I mean, this
overheating.
does have Newtonian. You can fly in full Newtonian if you really, really want to.
Alert. Systems overheating.
Honestly, though,
Hostile eliminated.
you want to do something kind of like a happy medium. So here's the damage. You can actually see that there's a big section of my wing in the back there that's been blown off. My port wing, the rear of it,
Contact.
has really been blown up. Looks like I've also lost part of my center wing as well on the top there. So the ship is lost some pieces, and it would probably be quite a penny to repair, especially since this is basically the BMW of space, and you know how those are.
Scan initiated. Proximity alert.
Right. Let's go in here and come in guns blazing.
Alert. Systems overheating.
So you see, I was doing like 1 damage, and that was my centerline cannon hitting their shields. That's why I usually like to save those until...
Alert. Systems overheating.
There we go. The reason why you can see damage anyways is because this is... Arena Commander is technically a video game within the world of Star Citizen. But it's a space simulation within Star Citizen, so it's kind of set up more like a arena mode. And that's why you can see the damage. But other than that, it's still like the full-on simulation.
Alert. Systems overheating. Hostile eliminated. Scan initiated. initiated.
I will say that flying with the 360 pad is not that bad, honestly. It's not great. You're going to get a lot more finer controls and a lot more buttons with an actual joystick. But, I mean, if you don't have the money, like I don't, you can get by with it and have a lot of fun. But you're going to want to upgrade.
Proximity alert.
Oh, no. The Vandal like to do a lot of crazy Ivans like that, and I didn't realize that he just pulled one off right there.
Stand by for reintegration.
So you gotta kind of watch for that.
Origin Jump Works at your service. Core system operational. Contact.
So yeah, that was the Star Citizen Arena Commander module. First iteration of it. Make sure you subscribe and check out the follow-up video where I'm actually going to compare these ships in combat and talk a little bit more ship talk. And make sure you follow me on Twitch at twitch.tv/Acitra. You can find the links below, because I will be streaming a lot of this game, as well as some other games too. But when this comes out, oh man, it's pretty much going to be Star Citizen 24/7 for me.
Proximity alert.
Alright, let's go ahead and finish this off with a bang. Fly right in the center of this terraformer that are like glassing the planet.
Alert.
Hello boys, I'm back. Alrighty guys, I will see you later in the verse.